All right, I made my quick impromptu dry run maiden voyage on spaces yesterday. And what I talked about was how you can predict what the CAWs are going to do beforehand, how they kind of telegraph, that big hit of late money that comes in. And I mentioned the Betfair exchange. If you're a U.S. resident, they block you from that. You can't view the Betfair exchange anymore. Maybe if you've got a VPN, you can, but you're not going to be able to get it with browser access in the U.S. And I told you about a site called odds.au. You could find it in Google if you want. It's just right here. And from here, you go horse racing, and then down to the American tracks, and you can view the markets for each race. So for kind of an example of what I was talking about, because I had a couple of people text me some questions, this is the fourth race at Gulfstream today. 0 minutes to post at this point for the fourth, and you could see the 6 is 2-1. The 2 is the 3-2 favorite. Now the 2 is the morning line favorite as well. So the 2 and 6 are fairly close in price, but the 6 is going to be, you're going to see his favorite on the Betfair exchange and with the European bookmakers. The 4 is 5-2 and the 7 is 8-1. Now the discrepancy in price is pretty wide between these two, but the 7's actually a shorter price on Betfair and a shorter price with the bookmakers. Now, we'll run this here. First, let me show you the past performances of this number 7 horse here. So here's the PPs of the 7, El Muchacho Alegre, trained by someone named Abraham Gardia. 4 for 85 trainer. You got a 7% jockey there, Cipriano Gil. A good rider at Tampa, struggles a bit at Gulfstream. You can see this horse is coming off, that's like a 3.5 month layoff there. February 15th to June 1st, exactly 3.5 month layoff. You've got these 2 works down here, 3 furlongs in 40 seconds, half mile and 52 at some training center. The horse is dropping in tag. I mean, he's run for 32 for 25, but he finished dead last at Tampa last time out. He had run on synthetic before. Not a bad race, but this really isn't the kind of horse that the public goes for generally. You got a low percentage trainer, a fairly low percentage rider, a layoff. Nothing about these works are dazzling, but who knows? The trainer's 0 for 10 with similar layoffs, 0 for 14 on synthetic, never won a synthetic race. With sprinters, it's got a 98-cent ROI, so loses 51% on the betting dollar. Just not the kind of horse that's going to, bettors are going to gravitate to and attract money. Although, I mean, it's dropping for the cheapest tag it's ever run. And it's in a spot where it's got a shot. So here on odds.au is what the race looks like. And you could see, the 6 that was 2-1, he's a shorter price with the 4 and bookmakers than the 2. Now, the 2's the morning line favorite was 3-2. So you see, these are decimal prices. What 272 means is that for every dollar bet, you get back 272. So that's, that's over there near the 8-5, 9-5 range. So, and that's if you're betting on the horse. If you're betting against the horse, it's 2.8. So that's 9-5. You're laying 9-5. This right away tells me that the 6 is very likely, almost certainly going to go off the favorite. There's going to be a late move, and the 6 is going to push past the 2 for favoritism. Now the 4 was 5-2. You've got 8.4 here. That means 7.4-1. And to lay against him it's 8-1 on the back end. The 7 who was 8-1, if you want to bet on him, the best you could get is 5.8-1 odds. to bet against him, just 7.2. So let's say you hate this horse. You've got guys willing to take 6-1 on the back end. Now, if you were in the Betfair exchange, you could see the liquidity. You can't see the liquidity on odds.au, but still, you could clearly see here someone wants 6-1 so bad on this horse that, they're fishing to try to get people to give them 6.2-1. The foreign bookmakers all have this horse at 6, so he had to be nibbled down there.
Waiting for El Muchacho
All right, now they're going
Alegre.
in the gate. Now they're going in the gate. You see 7-5 on the 2 and 2-1 on the 6. Here comes the race.
And they're off. Senior Money, quick off the blocks and tries to clear the inside traffic. Boombox Betty tries to rush up and challenge. Out the center, El Muchacho Alegre gets away in the top flight and races into third. Up on the outside goes Little Petito. Then it's a gap of 3 more to 3 Little Birds. Second last, Yadira. The trailer is El Mango Banelejo. To the far turn they go. The leader, El Muchacho Alegre, off the lead now by 2. From the inside, Senior Money takes the late money and moves into second. Dropping back, Little Petito is now third. Boombox Betty needs to do better than that. Wide, but not really kicking in yet, is 3 Little Birds. They have El Muchacho Alegre to catch. 22-1 for the opening quarter. El Muchacho Alegre and Cipriano Gil on their way home, 2.5 on top. Senior Money flat to the boards, but still 2 lengths behind. The others are way behind as El Muchacho Alegre has it won. El Muchacho Alegre on the board at 6-1 will kick off the Rainbow Six with an authoritative 4th race victory. Senior Money was second. 3 Little Birds ran third, and then Yadira fourth in 57-1.
All right, so you see the 6 gets pounded from 2-1 to even money. The 2 drifts up to 2-1. 7 comes down to 6-1, just like what was telegraphed in the exchange. All right, here comes the 6th race at Gulfstream. Yeah, you see the 2 horse here is 6-5 right now. Clear cut 6-5 favorite, but nothing crazy. Now you go and look at him on odds.au and in the Betfair exchange. He's 2-5. He's trading solidly at 2-5. So he's trading solidly at 2-5. You can't get anything better from the foreign bookmakers than 30 cents on a dollar. That's the best you're going to get. Ladbrokes, Pickle Bet, everything else in here other than maybe the 7. You don't have a tight market yet because it's 7 minutes to post. But you could see that everything else in here is just getting no action whatsoever. Now, here's the past performances of the number 2, Give Me Liberty. And, you can see the horse a bit of a bridesmaid, 4 seconds versus 1 win and 8 starts. And he was a 6-5 favorite last time and got beat 8.5 lengths, although did finish a clear second. And the claim got voided by the vet. So, you just had the horse get a voided vet claim, about 38 days ago, coming back for 12-5, has dominant figures in the race. But this isn't the kind of horse that, there's no one that sees that's getting the PPs a day or 2 ahead of time and, making a trip to the bank and going to the track with, a roll of $100 bills to bet on this type of horse. There are people who do that, but they're not looking to do that with horses that are kind of bridesmaids and, it just got hammered as the favorite last time and the vet voided the claim. So the horse opens, relatively chilly. It's 6-5, and then people just kind of get to looking at the race. He's the right horse. He's got a few flaws that wouldn't make you want to pound him, but the right horse and the price is going to come down. But this is not the kind of horse that people go nuts for. Here we're at post time. We're approaching the gate. And you can see he's 3-5 now, which seems like that's a very reasonable price on the horse. It kind of feels like, a horse that's Just based on having the better numbers and everything, should be 3-5. All right, they've started the load, still 3-5.
The horses are at the gate.
Now, what you see going on here is they view this as a race where the 7 is the only remotely competitive horse. You go back here as they start the load. The 3 is 7-1. The 4 is 12-1. The 6 is 9-1. So 7-1, 3, 12-1, 4, 9-1, 6.
Are at the gate.
And you look here, this horse is offered at 17-1 versus 20. The 4, 32-1. The 6, 29-1. So, I mean, you're getting like double and triple odds.
It's now post
in
time.
the exchange on those horses.
Moving in for a start, late pick 4 time, odds on 1-2. Give me Liberty.
So now he's clicked down to 1-2.
By Noble Star, and he's a daredevil.
I'll let you watch the race, but they basically view this as the 2 being a near cinch, the 7 being the only other thing that can stand up in the race, and everyone else being hopeless. Is, you know, how that market's, you know, it's how it's being assessed over here.
Begins well, but then he veered out and he banged into Give Me Liberty, and he's a daredevil. So the inside 3 scrum for the early advantage, but now moving up to take the lead is Mustang Bay alongside Fredericksburg. These 2 race on. Away third is Antillion. At the rail, Flat Cap is now 4th. Getting away from that early trouble, Give Me Liberty angles off the inside to race on to the top of the field here. He's only 2 lengths behind now. Then he's a daredevil, and the troublemaker is last of all a long way, Noble Star, after a 24-3 opening quarter. Mustang Bay leads by half a length. Fredericksburg is second. Poised to strike now, Give Me Liberty is out of harm's way while racing into third. At the rail, it's Flat Cap from between Antillion. Then he's a daredevil, and then 3 to the trailer, Noble Star. They have half a mile to run. The opening half mile complete. It went to the inside running Fredericksburg, taken on by Mustang Bay, the half. 48-2. Give Me Liberty at 1-5. He looks the part. He's gliding up and around horses. Give Me Liberty. He makes his move and takes a clear lead. Mustang Bay tries to counterpunch second. Fredericksburg is all in. Outside, he's a daredevil, dropping back tamely Antillion and Flat Cap. They reach the top of the stretch. It's Give Me Liberty, the son of Constitution, on his way home with his ears flat back. He's up to the task with a 4-length lead. Mustang Bay is still second, and he's not without hope. 5 ahead of He's a Daredevil. Off the turn in the stretch drive. Give Me Liberty looking around for competition. Literally, he's got his head cocked sideways. Gonzalez trying to straighten him up and keep him to business. Give Me Liberty by a length and a half. Mustang Bay dives toward the rail. Give Me Liberty. Now he looks towards where Mustang Bay is. Dare I say he's a smart individual, Give Me Liberty. He looked on both sides, found enough of an advantage to win by 2.5 over Mustang Bay second. 5 ahead of He's a Daredevil third.
So you see, Give Me Liberty there came through. The late money came in to push him to 1-5. And, you know, even with his blinkers on, he's looking all over. Just a bridesmaid type horse doing bridesmaid type horse things in the stretch. But he was so good it didn't matter. He had to pull himself up to get beat there. All right, and here comes the next race at Gulfstream. You see, you got just a 4-horse field. The 5 even money, the 1 6-5, the 8 3-1, and the 4 13-1. And now look at the 8 and the 4 in the market. So the 8's 3-1 going into the gate. The 4 is 13-1. And here's the market. You could get 20-1, or well, 19-1.
It's now post time.
So yeah, the 8 is going into the gate at 3-1, and you could get 19-1 odds on him at Betfair. And the 4 is going into the gate at 13-1. You could get 54-1 odds on him at Betfair. What the market's signaling here is that both of these horses have got completely no shot, and you've got like 2 horses that they've got laid at even money that they're making the case that this is a horse race with 2 solid even money shots, like 2 literal solid even money shots, and 2 horses who have literally next to no chance is what indication the market's given there.
In a bid to remain undefeated for the new barn, it's Navy Cross and Edgar Perez in front by half a length. Nate the Great, a closer second. Get Ready to Rock Slipstream's the leader, and slipstreaming the second horse is Uno Tiger. 48-4 for the opening half mile. The chess match rages on to the far turn. The leader, Navy Cross, 3 parts of a length. Nate the Great, now more animated in the saddle as Zayas to try to go after him, and now the pace quickens. Up to third, Uno Tiger, back to last, Get Ready to Rock, and Navy Cross is still in front. Navy Cross by half a length. Outside, Nate the Great, driven hard. He's within the next second. 6 ahead of Uno Tiger and Get Ready to Rock. They race for home. 3/4, 112-1. Nate the Great, he is put ahead in front. Trying to battle back with the inside edge is Navy Cross. They're off the turn. They're in the drive. Nate the Great is gaining the upper hand. Back to second is Navy Cross, but he's fighting hard. 16th to go. Nate the Great, driven out by Zayas. He's in front. Navy Cross is second. He's well clear of the others. Nate the Great in front. Nate the Great aggressive and a length winner over Navy Cross second. Get Ready to Rock third, and Uno Tiger.
Does go in the gate at 3-1, drifts up to 4-1, but remember, you could get 19-1 on him. You could get 19-1 on him offshore and on Betfair. And now here comes a Laurel race. You see 5-2 odds on the 11 and 8-5 odds on the 9. So the 9's a favorite at 8-5. 11 second choice at 5-2. You go over and take a look at at what's going on at Betfair and with the foreign bookmakers now over on odds.au. The 11 is being basically offered at 8-5. So the horse that's 5-2 is 8-5 over there, and like Ladbrokes has him at 6-5. So I mean he's getting pounded over there. Whereas the 9, the horse that's the 8-5 favorite, you could get 5.2-1 odds on him in Betfair. So you're able to lock in at 5.5-1 odds on a horse that was the morning line favorite and is currently 8-5. Here are the PPs for the race. This is what the 9 looks like. 2 races, 2 seconds. The 11's had 1 race. You see here now it's 3-1 versus 8-5.
Trying to come alive from second to last position. The outside of Cynthia Gale is under some pressure to stay pace. Arise, My Love, going to be steered deepest out wide into the stretch. And Golden Sword up top now by 5, suddenly putting away. Fiery Dart is fading off a scene. It's Arise, My Love on the chase, and Cynthia Gale's on the inside third. Golden Sword gets it all together. Second run, and it's a big run too from Golden Sword and Jamie Rodriguez. They're firing home by 7, almost 8 lengths. Arise, My Love. Then it was Cynthia Gale and Dartpool.
Actually stumbles pretty good there and still romps, runs off the screen. And he ends up, if they show it here, he got nailed down to 9-5. Yeah, 9-5. The money came late, and 3-1 for the 9. Barnes' 8th race, you got the 2 going into the gate as the 5-2 favorite. So he's going into the gate at 5-2 favorite.
As Double Velocity has gone in. The Grey is Salt.
Meanwhile, over here in the market, there was actually one point where he was 18 up here, but as he's going into the gate as the 5-2 favorite, you can get 12-1 odds on him at Betfair. So he's available at 12-1 going into the gate at 5-2.
A Little Frisky is about to join them. Into that turn, A Little Frisky, the centre. My Girl Dilla, the outside. Smudge is in the clear, coming home really well for Patrick. Husband's around the outside and is only, third last now and is kicking into gear really well. No time by 2.5. And as they come to the corner, got away. The danger is going to be the stablemate Smudge. Is 4 behind, no time in front. Down the outside, here comes Smudge, trying to make up the ground and is coming with every stride. No time, still in front by about 3 lengths. Smudge in second placing, and at the moment No Time isn't stopping. Smudge making ground, and on the inside Little Frisky, but once you have the lead here, you're pretty much home. No Time is the winner by 3 or 4 lengths to Smudge, My Girl Dilla, and on the inside A Little Frisky, the time at 1:44.24.
Number 2 horse, Double Velocity, really didn't run a jump. He had some grass races, 2 grass races, had a win at Keeneland on the grass. It was a Safi Joseph horse running in Canada. And, really didn't look bad on paper, looked pretty competitive. You had to kind of wonder how he was going to take the Tapeta. But you had 2 very weird things going on there where someone was hammering that horse like he was going to run a good race. And then while that's going on, the algos and the computers seem to have a pretty good indication that he was going to run horrible, and he did run horrible. At the second race at Santa Anita, the 6 horses 9-5, the 3-1, the 3 horses, the 2-1 second choice, and then you see 7-2 on the 4 and 4-1 on the 2. We'll take a look at the market, and I remember the market basically telegraphing that the 3 was going to come down plenty from there, that the 6 was solid, and they had everyone else like they were impossible. Yeah, so here's the market. The 3 is basically trading in the 6-5 range. So the 3's trading in the 6-5 range. The 6 was 9-5 on the board as the favorite, and he's shorter than that. So they've got the 3 and the 6 both. The 3 is substantially lower than his 2-1 odds. He's 2-1. On the board, but he's being bet here like he's going to be 6-5. The 6 is 9-5, and they've got him like he's value here. And then every other horse, like this 4 was 7-2. They got a 10 up there, so that's 9-1, and that's with pretty wide gap. So, it's basically being bet like the 3 and the 6 are the only horses in the race. And here they are going into the gate. You see 2-1 on the 3.
Center, 3 lengths back by Catherine Rose and Blue Fashion. They're moving into the far turn. Cypress Moon, 1.5 lengths. Hernandez and Miss Mandalay yet to be asked to go after the leader. 1.5 lengths. Irish Rose is down on the inside third. Not a Sinner, fourth with 1/4 mile to go. Then Blue Fashion and my Catherine Rose. Cypress Moon is in front. Now Miss Mandalay is set down to challenge. These 2 pass the 8th pole, and Miss Mandalay breezes to the front. Handridden, opens up 3. Not a Sinner takes up the chase, and it's a nice one second, but Miss Mandalay loaded throughout, scores for fun. Not a Sinner, Cypress Moon, and Irish Rose.
You see there, the 3 was 2-1 going into the gate, even money. 10 seconds after the break, it flashes even money. 6 second at 9-5. But yeah, that's what I was talking about on Spaces yesterday. How good the bet, being able to view the Betfair exchange, or if you can't view that, the odds.au site, are for kind of tipping you off on when these moves are going to come. They're not magical or anything over there. I mean, I would say they probably, the algos there probably are close to break even, but they get such monster rebates that they do very well. One of the subjects that I got into a little bit in the space is what type of information is going into those algos, and, are they getting information from clockers, from jockey agents, from veterinarians, from barns? I think it's very likely they are, because they're very good. Remember that first horse we showed you, that number 7 horse? There was a 3.5 month layoff there. They're fine with layoffs. They're fine at assessing layoffs, and they're surprisingly good at assessing like a 2-year-old race with all first-time starters. I mean, you'd think the algos wouldn't have any real solid information to go on. And some of those races are races with the tightest markets that, they're pretty darn good at. So I mentioned this horse, Cosetta Gigi. This was a horse from my time as a jockey agent, and I told the story about this horse on the Spaces that I did last night. And this horse, you could see 2 good races down here at the maiden special weight level, a couple of thirds. And when this layoff occurred from August 29th to June 16th, this particular horse was laid up in that period because it was stricken with EPM. You see here, EPM is, it's a parasitic disease that affects the nervous system of the horse. It's glute muscles in the rump. And this horse was like, you could tell just by looking at it that it was, it almost looked like its back was deformed. And at the beginning of the season, I didn't know that this horse had issues with that. I mean, I'm just kind of looking at form, and I was pretty excited about this horse. It's a Pennsylvania bred, still got the maiden condition, a couple good thirds. And I had a jockey named Nate Vickers at the time. He is an Ivy League kid, graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, and a smart kid. You don't get into the Ivy League if you're a dummy, and he got a wrestling scholarship there. So he'd ridden this horse before and was on it before. And going into the 2015 season, when he was getting on it, and I was kind of a newer agent at that time, young new agent. And he tells me, like, this horse is never going to beat another horse in its life. It wasn't like unsound by wind or limb, like it could breathe. Its legs were fine. It was sound that way. But the EPM just, its back looked so messed up just to the naked eye. And, Nate's going into this long thing about how, just about how it lost muscles in the back, and it just can't run. I mean, he's getting on the horse in workouts, and he's telling me flat out. I said, what if we drop it to State Bred Maiden on the bottom? Those races are horrible. He said, listen to me. This horse will never beat another horse in a race. I promise you. I'm not afraid to ride him. I'll ride him in any race. I'll try on him in any race. I'm just telling you that this horse is never going to beat another horse. Obviously, he's put in for the cheapest tag possible there. And, no one's going to claim the horse because you just look at him. You could see that his back was messed up from the EPM. And they made him 4-5 in this race. He kind of looked like he should have been 1-2 on paper. But it was one of those situations where when you're an agent, you do find out something meaningful from a betting standpoint quite a lot. I never bet during my time as an agent as far as on the races there. I would have made a killing if I did in certain situations. But, so this horse was a terrible favorite. And you're wondering, like, is this, it makes you wonder, like, do the CAWs, like, if they talk to vet, the jockey agent, or the rider, we all knew that this horse was going to run last. And it wasn't because anybody was doing anything shady. We were all trying. We all wanted the horse to do good. Just the horse wasn't physically up to it. The owner, Robbie, actually, was, had the horse and was trying to do the best he could with it. And, just one of those things where a horse isn't going to run well, is going to run last. And he did run. A 7-horse field, run 7th. 9-horse field, run 9th. 4-horse field, run 4th. And it couldn't even run a number until the last race. They put a bug on it at 112 pounds just because, lightweight, it had that issue in the back. And at least, you feel like you're giving it a chance putting less weight on the horse, but it's still, the best number he got at the run was a 10, and then that was it. She was always fine. She's a brood mare. I remember her first first time out. And nothing cruel was done. The horse just was weakened by the EPM and couldn't run. I mean, is what it is, but just kind of makes you wonder, this was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And I have a sneaking suspicion now that if this race took place now, like while this horse is odds on the board, he'll be 12-1 or something on Betfair. I just think, and I don't know this for sure, this is pure speculation, but I do think that there is more baked into the CAW algos than, just black and white information available to you on paper. But anyway, long story short, the Betfair exchange, it seems really odd that you're going to want to look at an exchange that it's restricted from Americans. So what you have in there is you have basically these a faction. I wouldn't say all of the CAWs, but there's a strong faction that I think hits the European bookmakers in Betfair first. And their last move are these big late odds moves that you see. That's the final piece of the puzzle, and that's where the big dump's coming in. But as far as American racing goes, I mean, you'd think it'd be crazy to look at Betfair because that's not American money in there. It's basically like this sharp element, and the people that are playing around in there are, European degenerates, kind of like the American guys that bet Australian racing. The Europeans, they're up late playing American racing in there, and they got to, they're trading back and forth with the algos, but they do hit Betfair and kind of and nibble at the bookmakers in Europe before they actually get around to those late odds moves that everyone complains about, and they're really annoying. So yeah, that's the thing that sucks about the CAWs. There's been an expansion of gambling, and the worst bettors have been fished out of the pool. The people that just play colors and names and hunch bets and stuff like that. Their slot machines are sport. The higher volume of money is coming from, this very sophisticated element. Now, you already have a high takeout to begin with, and it's like poker. I mean, you can have a little bit of a takeout in a poker game, but if you're playing poker against a bunch of absolute idiots, you're going to make a profit. Now, if the idiots walk away from the table and a sharp element comes to replace them, it makes it harder to make money. You just have you just have a reduction in dumb money in the pools while simultaneously getting an increase in sharper money. And that's just the unfortunate reality of betting horses these days. Anyway, I hope you got something from this video. Have a nice day, everyone.